Hey besties, let's throw some shade, honey. You ready to get into it? I see it only took 10 episodes for Portia to clock in to work. She's been acting like a friend of to this show all season. You know, Portia's return has been a flop, but she may be able to turn this around right around now. ah, Welcome, besties. You are now behind the shade, and thanks for joining me. I recap your favorite reality shows weekly. Now let's kiki and haha and get into another episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. It's season 16, episode 10, honey. The title is called Meditation and Mediation. I don't like it. I'm tired of these titles. I got to make my own thumbnail anyway. So my thumbnail is going to be called What About Your Best Friends? Or maybe just What About Your Friends? Like TLC. How would you guys rate this week's episode, besties? For me, it was a solid 7. It's interesting enough to want to keep watching. I'm not complaining yet because they keeping things moving. Angela is keeping this show going. I really wish Kenya would still be here. I really do. I see how Kenya is needed. And just like I was reading comments, and I really do agree with this, it would have been nice to see Angela with the OG cast. I'm like, yeah, it would have been good to see Angela with Sheree, Nene, Candy, when Cynthia was holding a peach. You know, I really would have liked that too. Who else am I missing? I don't know. What do you guys think about Marlo when she was a friend of? You know, yeah. So, whoo, baby, a solid 7. Besties, how would you rate this week's episode? Make sure you drop down in the comment section. Let me know. Please like this video, share, tell your people, like. Make sure you subscribe to my channel too, and make sure your notification bell is on, ding dong, so that you know each and every time I post my content. Let me drink some water and get into it, honey. Okay. So yeah, when I was watching the show, right? When I saw Shamia and Ralph, and then here come Portia, I was like, okay, now we getting to the mess. Okay. I was like, what's next? Is Drew gonna get her sister and go meet up with Simon or even Gerald or both of them? Wouldn't that be a mess? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay, let's get going, y'all. Let's get this going. So Kelly is at home with the kids. They in there talking about how she can't cook. They fighting, going back and forth. She's cooking dinner. Chloe, her oldest daughter, is mad, honey. She got a report card back, and all it had on there was A's and B's. I said, girl, I would have loved to have that. I would have had my own apartment, and I did have a car, but I would have had my own apartment if I was bringing home A's and B's, honey, in high school. So, but wait a minute, is she in high school? Because what? She's 17, right? Or 19. Okay, let's say she's in high school. So she said her A's and B's is bad, honey, because her dad, who is a different father than the other three, her dad is on her butt. He want all A's, and that's that on that. I love that for her. But Pops, she's doing good, boo. She doing good. I know he want her to go to college for free. I get it. He don't want to pay for nothing. Girl, you better get all A's so you can get a scholarship and go to college for free. Get that free ride, honey. So Kelly says her and Chloe's dad, they're best friends. They are best friends. And they've been through, they had their ups and downs, but they like brothers and sisters now, right? And so Kelly was wondering if her and her ex-husband would ever have that type of relationship. And I'm like, absolutely not. You talking about the man that put hands on you, and you had to call the police, and you have security now because of him? The man who's trying to take half your business is stealing money? Girl, what? The man who tried to buy you a G-Wagon and took it back and sold it? Absolutely not. Nope, nada. Nothing. So now the judge is telling her she has to sell the townhome that she's living in with the girls. And she's okay with that because it was a temporary thing anyway when they had to leave their family home of 7,000 square feet. She said this townhome is not enough for these five personalities. And so she goes to meet with Angela, and we'll get to that. She's gonna go see go see a house. So honey, so honey, so honey, honey, Shamia meets up with Ralph for dinner. Excuse me? Where did you tell your husband? Where did you tell him you was going? How is a married woman just going to kick it with another man? I know it's a reality show. So anyway, Ralph got this idea to start a podcast and call it Kings and Queens. And apparently him and Shamia has done a podcast before. Maybe she just came onto a podcast he was a part of, and she did a show. Well, he liked it. He grooved with her. He liked her smarts. He want to pick her brain. He wants these two genders to battle about things like a family feud type of setting. And, he wants her opinion. He want to do it with her or whatever. Okay. This seems so fishy. Very fishy. Now, who wanted to meet? Was it? Oh, it was Ralph. And I'm thinking to myself, Ralph is trying to get to Shamia to get some scoop on Drew so he can run back to the judge because he tell the judge everything. The divorce is unsealed. So, we're going to get into that later on what the stuff about Drew is. He's just trying to add more stuff to make Drew look worse than it already is, right? So Shamia wants to address the elephant in the room, and the elephant in the room is Drew. So, child, Ralph tells us he met Drew, proposed to her in 3 months, married her in 5 months, and got her pregnant in 8 months. They didn't even know each other, child. They were two strangers. How you meet somebody, child? Was that even a year? I think that was about a year's time. And child, now I'm thinking, I know someone who, same timeline. They've been married 4 years now. They have one kid and they are struggling. Besties, never marry a stranger. Okay, you think it's love at first sight and you've been bitten by love. And child, just wait a few years. You really don't get to know someone. It takes about 3 good years to really get to know someone. But I ain't saying wait 3 years. I'm just saying don't marry a stranger. Okay. So Ralph says he does not like who Drew is becoming. Child, be quiet. We didn't like who you were when we met you, Ralph. We didn't like you. I could tell you who is in Tampa. Let's talk about the real elephant in the room. Ralph, who is in Tampa? Okay, y'all know I want to know. So Ralph says that Dennis did reach out to him to get his blessing to work with Drew. He respected that, but he didn't like the fact that they were working together. He just didn't like it. And so Portia shows up, honey. I'm like, I know you lying. Oh, this is getting good. I need my water close, honey, because this episode, honey. So Portia and Ralph gives us their disclaimers to say that neither one of them knew that each other were coming. Okay, we'll give y'all that. Shamia asked Portia to join her and be a witness for this outing. I'm like, smart lady. That's how you do it. Because she know this group is going to run and tell that. Ooh, Shamia and Ralph was out. They will stir that, get that going, and put it out there. Then you and Gerald going to be on divorce court next. So that was pretty smart. But this could have been a telephone call. Real talk. So we learned that Drew is no longer, an ambassador for Go Naked Hair. Okay, we get it. So Shamia asked Ralph, was he paying? Yes, he's paying because he invited you out. But you need to pay for Portia. He didn't invite Portia to dinner. They running a bill up, honey. Child. Shamia, like, I want the snapper and the Brussels sprouts. Uh-huh. And Portia's like, well, I want steak and green beans, corn. Oh, we doing appetizers? Can we get the octopus? Oh, and a Henny XO. Ralph over there sweating and doing that uncomfortable laughing, like, because all he ordered was the plantains. Okay, so he was like, forget it. That after his little like, oh my goodness, after he kind of got it in his head that they was gonna make him pay, he was like, forget it. Shots then. Cause honey, I'm like, what you want shots for? You trying to be a little funny? You trying to get the girls a little loose? Who was that said I think it was Shamia. No, Portia like because Portia said she don't like husbands right now. You ain't finna get her wild and loose. And so Portia shares, the text from Dennis about him telling her that he told Drew no bump and grind. He want that money. Okay. And I'm like, Portia, why are you running with this narrative? Dennis told you last week that's not what happened and that you misinterpreting stuff. But Portia misinterprets everything. And let's just state Portia, are you listening? Drew don't want Dennis. You don't even want Dennis. And Dennis is trying to get you jealous. He is still mad at you for putting him on that spinoff show with Simon. He is trying to get his clap back with you. He playing in your face. He playing with you. And he playing about you, girl. Red flag. Portia says, but it could be a rumor. Yeah, you starting a rumor because it's coming from Dennis. It started with you. What are you talking about? But this is Portia. She don't take accountability. And so she asks, but the rumor is, it's a rumor about you too, Ralph. Like, that you in these streets like Drew is. And so he like, I'm not in the streets. And he said, I thought she was fooling with somebody else. She fooling with Dennis? And so Dennis said the same thing. Remember when he said, no, she slept with somebody else. And remember Portia said, who? And he was like, I don't know. So yeah, I could tell Dennis and Ralph, they are homies. Child, they homies because they're kind of doing the same thing. They fishing around to get information to hurt these women that they used to love. Okay. So Portia tells Ralph what Drew said about her music paying for PJ's college. And here we go again. Portia running with a narrative, misinterpreting things. All she said was, yeah, this money can be, we get these songs out, you're going to have money to pay for PJ's college tuition. Shamia took up for Portia, made it bigger than it was. Her college fund is already paid for because me and Gerald already got that secured because that's my god baby. You know what I'm saying? And then when Drew was like, oh, well, it could be her snacks. I mean, you do got to be kind of careful talking about people's kids, but it's not like she said something bad about PJ. But it's her child, her way. But in my opinion, it wasn't like she was talking about PJ like bad. So Ralph don't even jump on that train. Oh, that was disrespectful. She said that. That's disrespectful. I'm like, wait, what? So Portia asked Ralph who filed for the divorce first. Who cares, Portia? Who filed for your divorce first? Was it you or was it Simon? Does it matter? It doesn't. So Ralph says he did. But remember, besties, they filed on the same day. And I believe Drew filed like 5 minutes before him. They both was running up there to be the first. You talk about petty. Oh, very petty. Because did they both have to pay to file the filing fee? Oh, child. So he said he did, but what difference does it make? Why are we asking that? So why are y'all getting divorced? He said because the affair she had with Ty, y'all know Ty is on Basketball Wives, okay? I said, oh, they say Ty be getting around. She knows what to do, honey. She got her own bag and she got that swag, honey. And so Portia was like, well, that might be a rumor. And so he said, no, Drew told him about Ty. So Portia asked Ralph, did you ever cheat on Drew? Child, Portia trying to get her stuff so she can go out there and run Drew name in the ground. Everybody is backstabbing everybody. So he said no, he didn't cheat. What happened in Tampa, Ralph? So then Ralph brings up how close Drew and Portia are or used to be. Portia said, nah, bro, we're not close. And so Portia asked Shamia, how is she and Drew? Shamia says, apparently what Portia eats makes her poop, even when it comes to Angela. And so Shamia says, she wants me to hold you accountable. And Portia cuts her off. No, she wants you to hold yourself accountable about what you let be said around you and what you laugh at. What? Portia, you sound dumb. What you say? Y'all pretty much saying the same thing, but you putting it on her. She putting it on you. Portia, there's no accountability in your future, huh? Where is your accountability for what you said? Okay. But Shamia is right. She's like, well, it's messed up that y'all can make amends about what you said because you started this, but she won't make amends with me about laughing about it. Because she trying to put the both of y'all against each other. Y'all got to be smarter than this, Shamia and Portia. So Shamia says, defending Portia brings out the animosity with the ladies, and I couldn't agree with her more. So, child, Angela tells us she got 5 income properties that she needs to sell, and they are not selling. She is in debt by $2 million. And now we see why Charles has an attitude with her. He don't want to hear about these heifers. He don't care about Portia Big Mouth, Cynthia, Britt, who else? Shamia. He don't care. He want to hear about a sale here, a sale there. Y'all got 5 houses out here for sale that's not selling. Angela, the properties that they showed us, you're gonna have to come down on the prices, honey. You're gonna have to, or you're gonna have to put some more money into the homes. Okay. So Kelly comes by to see the $3 million house. So Kelly don't think, she gonna get $3 million for this one. She said the house got low ceilings. Girl, Kelly, you ain't even 5 feet. What difference does it make? Every house is taught to be high ceilings for you. She said ain't no water in the pool. And they showed some old rinky dinky closet that did not look like a closet. I don't even know what that little piece of hallway was. But Kelly says the house is nice, it's cozy. So after the viewing, Angela asked Kelly, what does she know about her beautiful 8-year marriage with her best friend Charles? Because she been talking. So Kelly apologizes, and says, there was no way to ask you about the rumor, and it's like, yeah, you didn't ask her, but you had no problem saying at the Bailey Q, oh, yeah, what about that side baby, though? When you was over there riding with Britt. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. See, which I don't see. Angela's coming for all you heifers. You want to talk about her husband? She is coming for all you heifers. Y'all ain't going to be playing about her and her marriage, okay? Find something else to do. So clock this. The rumor is Charles was hosting an event with Wendy Williams, right? And so Wendy Williams' ex-husband had a baby on her with his mistress, okay? So after the event, Angela went up to Wendy Williams and told her, babe, like it's only a baby, like go on and stay with him, stop tripping, like girl, ride it out. So Wendy asked her, has she been through something like this before? And Angela said yes. Okay. So Angela says she was talking about her first baby daddy. She didn't say that to Wendy. This is what she had to say after Wendy ran with the narrative that it was Charles. And my one question is, Angela, why would you tell Wendy to stay with her cheating ex-husband when you didn't stay with your cheating baby daddy? You got a whole nother husband. You didn't stay with your baby daddy after he had a baby on you. And so what we learned is that Angela was the side piece. He was her first. She was young. He was older. He had a woman, a family, or whatever. And the lady and Angela was pregnant at the same time. Like the boy was born first, and then Angela's oldest daughter came 6 months later, and that crushed her. And so I'm like, well, you didn't stay with him, so why'd you tell Wendy to stay with hers? So Wendy ran with the narrative that it was Charles. Girl, all over the hot topics, the hot tea, the hot off the press. It's all over the place. And Charles said he didn't care. But my question to Angela is, well, you was talking to the queen of gossip, child, the queen of hot topics herself. Why wasn't you clear on who you were talking about? Like, that's probably why Charles be riding on her. Like, do your job. Like, half the stuff be happening, half the time his mess is his name getting ran through the dirt is because you ain't clearing up stuff. You want to talk about your first relationship, tell that woman it wasn't. Like, why would you not tell her it wasn't Charles, knowing that would be the assumption? Because Wendy was on her purple couch, her purple chair, the next day with them eyeballs all big, telling all Charles Oakley business. So Kelly nosy butt gonna ask, has Charles cheated on her before? And I'm like, really, Kelly? Your old regular husband cheated on you. You don't think an NBA star has cheated on his wife? Even Doug Christie has cheated. Let me stop. Allegedly. I'm sorry, Jackie. I didn't mean it. I'm taking it back. So Angela says she's very transparent about her relationship. So she said, yeah, it was after the altercation that happened at the Madison Square Garden. So I did some research, y'all, because I'm like, I needed to be reminded what happened, because this happened back in 2017. So Charles playing, the game, he got a smart mouth, getting into it with the security. He got ejected from the game. Then he was arrested. The owner told security to, eject him from the game. He got arrested, and then he was banned from ever stepping foot into the Madison Square Garden again. He can never come back as long as, what is his name, Dolan owns it. He can never step foot there. So, of course, his ego was bruised. He was publicly humiliated, and he sought validation because Charles turned into a car that he could not park himself. He needed the groupies. He let the groupies in. He needed some kind of self modification. He needed to be rectified. He needed to feel like a man again, and he could not seek that from his wife. So he let the groupies in. They broke up. So that is why they had to do a vow renewal when they decided to get back together and make this work out, because she was pregnant. So Angela brings up Shamia and how they were mending their friendship. Shamia told her she had issues with Portia. She thinks Portia didn't want her to be on this cast. And she thinks that she says she's still hurt that Portia didn't come to her wedding. Now, I did some research for you guys. Where is it? So Shamia got married in I wrote it down somewhere. There you go. Shamia got married in July of 2017. In 2017, Portia was not with Dennis yet. They started dating the year after. And they dated for 2 years, and they have PJ in 2019. So, and then I looked up Portia's worth. She was worth $1.5 million. She had been on the show for a minute. She had been divorced from Cordell about 4 years by the time Shamia got married. So I'm thinking, here we go again. Portia was single. She was on the show, but she was single. She didn't want to be bothered with your wedding in Kenya. We'll get to that later, but I just want to put that in there like that. So now I lost my place. Hold on, y'all. So she hasn't brought it up to Portia because she's afraid to. And you would think, why are you afraid? Talk to your best friend. It's easier said than done. Not that I've done that, but I will talk if I have a problem, but I'll think about it first because I want to come and be open, because my objective is to get some resolve, right? But I do know someone who has a best friend that she is afraid to talk to. Like, this best friend be dogging her out. Like, her best friend is Portia. She's Shamia, and she is afraid to talk to her best friend. So it does happen. I don't know why, but it does. And I believe what I heard, child Angela on the after show, Angela said it's the Stockholm syndrome, honey. It's when you take kindly to the person that treats you bad. You take kind to that. Ooh, that is something else. So, and I'm also thinking, why would Shamia confide in Angela? They just got back cool. Like, yo, you don't talk about your best friend of people. Like, what are you doing? Y'all don't see that Angela is coming for all of y'all that talked about her husband? Okay. So we get a little clip at Britt's house. She talking to her husband. They always in that kitchen, child. Why we can't go around that house? We went down the basement. What else? I want to see something else. Can y'all go in the family room, the living room? I want to see your bedroom. So they talk. She talking to Mike about what happened at the Bailey Q and how she not getting along with Angela. So she's talking and he's all defending her like, "Yep, you did right. That was cool. Why she say that? Oh my goodness, you blah 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 blah." And remember they talking about the big mouth and the stretch marks around the lips and you need to be an HO for your husband and blah 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 blah. So he changes up the subject to tell her that he is finally gonna sit down and he gonna meet with her sister Cher. Britt tells him, remember, she plays victim, but she does want them to make up. And I'm like, why are you putting your husband in the middle? You know that triggers that girl. I think y'all should sit down with her together and let her air out how she feels and y'all can move forward, but whatever. So Portia meets Angela and Angela's oldest daughter for a game of tennis. We find out that her daughter married a woman, and I knew it. After I did my review, I thought about it. Why would she be hiding this and not telling nobody? Because the way she said, everything is the same, nothing happened. We just did. I said it was giving lesbian vibes. It was. And hey, congratulations to you, girl. And you already know why she went off and did it. Probably because the grandma and the auntie feel some kind of way about her being a lesbian. Okay, so Portia was doing good. I think Portia won the tennis game, child. So, and her little outfit was cute. So she mentions to Angela that she's has an upcoming Pampered by Portia event, and she's going to invite them. Okay, cool. Water break. So then Portia tells Angela that they met Ralph for dinner and says Drew was trying to sleep with Dennis. She running with this narrative. Child, don't nobody want him. Nobody wants Dennis. Angela says, no, no, don't do that. Don't do that. She was like, no, for real, girl, for real. Angela's like, are you serious? And Angela said, Portia's so messy. That's why I wouldn't let her come to my house. We over here at this other house playing tennis. And so she says also, like, Portia needs to practice what she preaches. You over here tripping off what the next girl doing, and you over here talking about what you would do to my husband. Oh, I'm coming for you, girl. Buckle up. So Angela wants to fix things, stir the pot. Portia, like, yeah, but she talked about PJ too. She did not. She brought her up, but she didn't talk badly about PJ. But Portia runs with her own narrative. She just lacks understanding and accountability. And I'm charging this all on Diane, her mom. So then Angela brings up what she just told Kelly. Portia says, no. I wrote a list of who I wanted on the show to be a housewife, and Shamia was on my list. There's my receipt. Clock it. But Gerald didn't want to film, so that's why Shamia ain't been on. That's why she just getting on the show. She ain't. They just got married, and whatever. Gerald didn't want to film. So then Angela told Portia that Shamia feels like they have a lopsided friendship. Portia goes, wow, really? Angela says, well, she's afraid to talk to you and she doesn't want to be your lapdog anymore. And Portia cries, we assume, because she put a fan. She had a pretty African fan up to her face because she was hiding as she was crying. And I was like, oh, you're using Angela's fan? That was Angela's fan, child. Angela didn't fan out one time this episode. Ain't that something? So Angela says she's sorry because she didn't know Portia would be so hurt by it. Portia gets up, get in her Bentley, leaves. So at Drew's home, she says that her and Ralph don't talk anymore. That's why he going over there talking with your friends, because y'all don't talk. And so they can't tell the kids that they are divorcing because the judge says in time the kids will need therapy so they can discuss all this, and they gonna handle it like that when it's time. But for right now, don't say anything. So she has a Zoom meeting with Dr. Ken. You know, Dr. Ken used to be their marriage counselor in a couple of seasons ago, and now he is her life coach. He ain't told her nothing I couldn't have told her. But anyway, Angela stirs the pot, told her Ralph met with Shamia and Portia, and she didn't know nothing about his podcast. His what? I didn't know he does. So they said, you didn't know what he be doing? Child. Drew said, I don't know what he does in that basement. So Dr. King gives her advice, tells her he's proud of her. Okay, boom, that's over with. They'll talk again next week or whatever. So now it's the day of Portia's event. Child, Britt and Kelly ride together. And so they in there talking. So they meet up with her sis and her husband. So she talk about the meetup with her sister and her husband. And it went really good. And that's good. So Drew shows up early. She was the first one, I think. Portia says she invited her because she don't want to argue with her no more. And she's calling it growth. And I like, no, growth would have been you talking to her and having a conversation. You guys should have went out and had a talk. This is giving cast event. She had to come. Okay. So I'm guessing there was a theme because all the ladies are showing up in lingerie of some sort. So when they get there, Portia put them in robes and everything. And child, Kelly came in looking like a Victoria's Secret model. What was that on her back? I do not know. I don't know what they had to do with lingerie. So Portia's having a photo shoot. And Drew is wondering where her contract is because it's giving product launch. She's doing a product launch. This ain't no photo shoot, but she's trying to she gives the ladies, they can take their own sexy photos too. But it's definitely giving product launch. They're posing. Portia got her sheets in her hand. And Drew want to know where her check is. So Portia decides not to have a confrontation with Shamia. She says she just doesn't have the bandwidth to deal with her best friend talking about her behind her back. Okay. Kelly sits with Shamia. They're eating. They have a little private time. And says she was at Angela's house yesterday and was disturbed by Drew saying that she's been Portia's lapdog. Angela said Portia was in tears about you and how you run and tell half the stories and how far up Portia's butt you are. Shamia says, well, that hurts. And so back in the group, when they all get together, Portia's sister is conducting a meditation. So they all have to lie back and breathe, and they got the sound bowl going. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, let me do that. Everybody lay on their back but Shamia. Kelly gets up, shows us all her booty. I was like, is that real? I don't think so. She get up, booty all out, go over to see what's up with Shamia. Shamia says she don't feel safe or comfortable laying back, closing her eyes. She don't feel like there's no peace here. Portia is shushing them. I'd have been like, don't shush me. We would have had to talk right then and there. Don't be shushing me, heifer. I'm a grown woman. You go shush PJ. So Shamia's like, she probably don't feel none either. She, peace. And so Kelly's like, well, everything you told Angela, Angela told Portia. And so then she says, I'm so sorry. Like she's hurt, so she goes back to her place because now they're about to do this sister circle. So Angela goes first. And so they have to talk to Portia and ask her something and thank her for something. So Angela thanks Portia for her apology and asks, can they move forward? And Portia received it and says it's possible. Kelly admires Shamia and Portia's friendship and wants them to talk about how they feel about each other. Portia is like, well, no. She says, Portia, you don't allow Shamia to be her best self. Shamia was like, who said I said that? Wait a minute. My best self, excuse you. So Portia says, well, Angela and I spoke about Shamia being the best friend and I'm the bad friend. So then Lauren, she's trying to conduct this. So she asked Portia, well, how does hearing that make you feel? Portia says, like a piece of crap. It saddens me. Shamia's like, I never talk about my end quote friends behind their back. And I'm like, yes, you do, because you told Angela, yes, you do, Shamia. And the real you is coming out. You ain't as squeaky clean as you want to make us believe you are. Something in your milk ain't clean, sis. So she says, so whoever spoke on my behalf, child, it has not been coming to me. No, they have not been communicating to me. And she said, and you made her cry. Oh God. Portia's like, you brought that up. I didn't come to your wedding. And she said, I said that I didn't want you on the show. Shamia's like, yes, I asked you, Portia, about that. And you showed me your receipts of how you didn't say that you only wanted me to be a friend of. Anything they can tell you, I've said it to you in private. Girl, what? They say you said you were afraid of her. You ain't talked to no dark Portia in private because you wouldn't feel the need to say nothing to Angela. So then here she go telling us who she is. I mean, I'm no angel. I've said our friendship has some challenges. Yeah. But y'all come to me about Portia, I shuts it down. Kelly was like, agreed. I agree with that. You do. Shamia says, but it's not reciprocated. Portia was like, well, how it's not reciprocated? Ain't nobody said nothing about you. So Shamia said, well, your energy is boo-boo, baby. Portia's like, this is a safe space. You want to talk? You can. So Angela cuts off Portia. Shamia, you are afraid of her, and things been bothering you for a while. I never knew she didn't come to your wedding. So don't act like I pulled that out my butt. You told that to me. So she letting Portia know she do. Well, she let Shamia know too. You just said you don't talk about your friends behind their backs, and you do. Because I didn't know nothing about that wedding, honey. Nothing. So Portia's like, well, first of all, we were not speaking like a couple of months before your wedding in Kenya. And I'm like, well, wait. We need context. Why weren't you guys speaking before the wedding? See, Portia was single, y'all. Remember that? Remember she was in her bed in her house in Decatur, Duluth, wherever she lived. And that guy lived, he was from DC. And she was like, yeah, we going to have a baby. And and he was like, wait, what? Maybe she was messing with him a little bit. And he didn't, he was he just wanted some booty, right? So, here we are again. Portia's single. Shamia's getting married. And Portia don't want to be bothered. But she says, now it's a lot going on. So, Portia says she's apologized. Shamia said no. So wait. Portia said that I was supposed to be in the wedding in Atlanta. Am I skipping? Shamia says, well, I didn't know that. Huh? Okay, here we go. Portia says she was sick. No, Shamia said, but you said you was sick. That's why you couldn't come. And then Shamia says she didn't know that. Didn't know what? I don't know, y'all. But, because Portia said, well, I couldn't sit in the front seats. No, you couldn't. Maybe that's what she said. I didn't know you couldn't sit in the front seats. I didn't know we had an issue. Portia was like, by that time, I couldn't buy a flight. It wasn't meant to be. It just wasn't meant to be. But I was in your traditional wedding here in Atlanta. And Shamia's like, okay, whatever, whatever, whatever. And so it's like, okay, what is it? Portia, y'all wasn't talking. By the time y'all made up, you only had a month or two to get a flight to Kenya. Portia couldn't get a flight because she couldn't go first class. And then I heard she had got a doctor's note that she couldn't go if it wasn't first class because she can't sit down that long. Not when you jealous, you sure can't. So, do we believe this, besties? Or is Portia full of beep? And so I'm like, wait, but Portia was worth $1.7 million. I said 1.5. Here go my note. She was worth $1.7 million back then. You couldn't get a flight, a first class flight. You couldn't get business. You couldn't do business class. You couldn't do the the emergency seats. There was nothing you could do. You couldn't charter a plane. I mean, it's giving jelly. So then she like, it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. So I don't know. I guess Shamia thought that Portia was sick and that's why she couldn't come. But Portia was like, I was in your traditional wedding that was here in Atlanta. And so Shamia was like, okay, whatever. So Angela's like, well, I'm glad Shamia spoke up because, Shamia, you trying to figure out how Portia got comfortable talking to Angela. Yeah, Shamia trying to figure out how Portia got comfortable talking to Angela when they was just funking. And so Cynthia says she hates to see this because they've been friends since childhood. All right, Auntie Cynthia, she got a little word in this episode. So Lauren wants Shamia to share. So Shamia said she's hurt. It's a lot, and she doesn't expect to resolve, but she will give grace. Portia's like, well, thank you for your grace. And so Shamia said, see, sarcastic. I was like, yes, sarcastic, selfish, self-centered, spoiled brat, been groomed by Diane, jealous, want to be on top. I believe Diane treated Portia like a princess, and Portia has that princess syndrome. That's what she has. Shamia may have that Stockholm syndrome, but Portia got princess syndrome. So Portia was like, no, I'm boo-boo, and it's not cool. And child, that was the end of the episode. No to be continued or nothing. There was a lot of back and forth and back again at the end. But I don't know. You didn't come. You can't. You got sick. You didn't come. I was at your wedding. But okay, whatever. You were right, child. It was a lot back and forth and back, besties. But that was the end of the episode. So we are now seeing how and why Portia and Shamia are not friends today. Shamia was on Watch What Happens Live, and she still got she was pumped up. I saw clips, and she was like, no, she has tried to reach out to Portia, giving grace and all that, and it's going to be up to Portia to reach out to her to mend their friendship and all that. So seems like Shamia is down for it. But Shamia, let me give you a little advice. I was you. I've been you before. I've had a Portia. We fell out twice. I won't say what happened, but it's always the big things in life. Career, buying a house, getting married, all those things that they're not doing. Yes, I've been there. And we tried to mend twice. We tried to get it back twice. And I had to end it shortly after the second time. I had to end it. And trust me, it's over. Portia, and now that Portia's getting divorced, she don't want to see your life. She don't care about you. She don't want you to be happy. She could care less. Portia only would like you if she's doing better than you. And now you're on her platform doing better than her because you're clocking in as a housewife and Portia acting like a friend of. Well, that was my review, besties. Don't forget to like the video, and I'll be back with another recap. Bye, bestie.